Welcome to the world's least watched video blog. Yes, it's Gary's Graveyard Ramblings. Now you'll notice, I'm going over a very muddy patch to move away from the comfort of my bench round the corner, and we're going round to the arse end of the church again, because I like it round here. This time I'm approaching from the south so I can show you Count Dracula's grave, which is there. Look, do you want a closer look? It's daylight, so I think we're safe. Yes, you see, there he is, faster bye-byes, and we're going over to, I think, my normal spot, and for an ersatz, another ersatz Gary's Graveyard Rambling. Hello. I say ersatz because I had absolutely no intention today of doing a Gary's Graveyard Ramblings. So I thought, in the spirit of a true rambling, I'd do one without even thinking about it. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, so anything could happen, as they used to say in Stingray, in the next half hour. Oh, don't worry, it's not going to go on that long. I wouldn't bore anybody that long. Oh, can we just say good morning to John Gilbert, who I'm currently leaning on and standing on, actually. Now, what are we going to talk about then, for Christ's sake? Well, for one thing, I've got my hoodie on today, having to dab myself. I often have to do that. Have you noticed how sweaty I get? But it's a beautiful morning, but it is damp because it rained like billio during the night, and everywhere is muddysome and quagmirey, and therefore I'm probably wearing the wrong shoes. Can I just show for you? I don't know if you can see these or not, but that was probably very unprofessional. But these shoes, which I bought in a local shop in Rye, are called dudes. For Americans, of course, that's dudes. D-O-O-D-S, for my American friends, and D-U-D-S, D-U-D-E-S, I should say, for British viewers. Dudes is how we say it. And on that note, of course, I'd like to send fraternal greetings to all of my brothers and sisters and otherwise in the US of A, who are on strike at the moment, striking for AI purposes and the terrible rip-off activities which are taking place over there. Because this is the world's least watched video blog, I'm not in any danger of being compromised by doing it, you see, because nobody ever watches it. Least of all Michael Eisner or the Disney Corporation. And in any case, you can tell that this is definitely not artificial AI, artificial intelligence. One, because nothing that AI could ever produce would be this crappy. And secondly, it's not very intelligent. So you can rest assured this is the real thing. So what am I going to talk about today, for Christ's sake? I mean, it's tempting, you see, to go straight into stories about theatre stories, because they're easy. You know, actors, we chuck them about like there's no tomorrow. We don't care. Do you want one? All right, I'll give you a quick one. So this goes let's go right back to the mid-1970s. I just left college, and I think I've told some aspects of this story in my book, Spangles. Buy it now while you can. In charity shops everywhere. This was about a show that I did when I was a chorus boy. I was a chorus line boy. Oh, when I was a twink, I used to sing and dance. I was a sort of a 14, 15-year-old Fred Astaire, or probably Ginger Rogers. Fred Rogers I was, or Ginger Astaire. So I was in this show, this was a one-off, thank God, for charity purposes. The Mayor's Charity, I think, in Tunbridge Wells at the Assembly Hall there. And it was called Midnight Cabaret with Cyril Fletcher. Now, a lot of British people of my age and era will know who Cyril Fletcher was. He was a famous variety radio writer, celebrity, actor, and presenter from the 1960s. I think he might even have gone back to 1950s. Don't think it was earlier than that, but he was famous for his catchphrase, thinking of me, or something like that. Sounds a little bit like, look at me, look at me. A variation of that, but 1950s. Anyway, see, this is really a rambling. So he was the star attraction, and then there were lots of local variety acts. And I was in the chorus line of the music dance section. Now, it's interesting to note that this was called Midnight Cabaret with Cyril Fletcher. Now, this show went on. I don't think it started at midnight. I don't remember it starting. I mean, who would have been up in Tunbridge? Even the buses had stopped in Tunbridge Wells by that time. So I think it must have started probably at around about 9-ish, I don't know, something like that, and probably planned to end at midnight. The only thing is, because Cyril Fletcher was such a big star, we had never actually done a complete run-through. We had no idea what he was going to do. So we put together all these acts, and there were loads of variety acts and groups and song and dance numbers and what have you, and then Cyril's spot and blah, 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 you name it, what have you. Quick story about one or two of the dance numbers I was in. I was in a number called about Sammy Khan medley, it was. And to do this, we were top hat and tails, ladies all in ball gowns, beautiful ball gowns, and they'd constructed this huge sweeping staircase down the back of the stage for us to sort of go down a la Busby Berkeley. Although it was more Busby the telephone bird than Busby Berkeley by the time they'd finished, because the set constructors didn't have a lot of time to do this. So the steps that they constructed down all had a drop of over a foot. And the trouble with that was the women in the ball gowns couldn't see their feet. And we were supposed to be looking out or looking at them and smiling, you know, doing all this sort of sickly stuff at them. So we weren't supposed to be looking down either. But the truth of the matter is that those people on the topmost steps had to negotiate about 15 one-foot drops. It was lethal. And so to cap it all, a rumour had gone round the ladies' dressing rooms that the janitor of this theatre was a pervert, and that there was a knothole in the stage floor, and he was to be found underneath the stage peering up their skirts. Now, this all adds up to not a happy scenario. Funny, but not very happy. So, as we're doing 3 coins in a fountain and coming down this staircase at the back, in fear of our lives for these drops, all you could hear as we're going, 3 coins in a fountain, each one something, something, whatever it is. And clomp, 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 as the ladies in their high heels risked life and limb coming down this back staircase. As if things weren't chaotic enough, before they'd even reached the bottom and we were on to, what's that other Sammy Khan song? Oh yeah, you see a man with, the something trap, the love, I don't know, I can't remember what it is now. But there's a line in it that goes, which we changed to amuse ourselves. I can't even remember what the real line is, but the line we sang was, you see a man with open flies, and suddenly your sighing sighs. By the time we'd got to the bottom, and all this clomping had gone on with misspelt words and what have you, and we were supposed to sweep across the front of the stage, you could see the women looking down, trying to spot where this knothole was, and the pervert stage janitor, the theatre janitor underneath, looking up their skirts. And as they went past where they perceived this knothole, this hole in the floor to be, they suddenly swished their skirts round for no reason. And I happened to look out into the audience at this time because it was slightly incongruous and didn't fit. And you could see puzzled looks on people's faces in the audience, wondering what the hell was going on. Any road up. This show dragged on and on, a bit like this rambling, dragged on and on for hours. And it had got to 1:45 in the morning, and we still hadn't finished. Cyril Fletcher had done a marvellous set, because he was a very, very sweet man. I do remember talking to him in the wings. I've got flies on the brain, see, I can't get that Sammy Khan song out of my mind. And I do remember talking to him, and he was very sweet, and he was saying lovely things like, you know, encouraging, not just me, but other youngsters, because I was very young, I was only a teenager at the time, to carry on with it. Stick with it, he said. Stick with it, my darlings. And stick with it I did. I don't really know where this is going. Where was I? Oh, yes, so about 1:45, and we could see people nodding off. In fact, I think several members of the cast had nodded off by this time too. And, you know, there were sort of faint snoring noises coming from, you know, if you look down in it from what you could see down in the stalls, there were lots of hats going up and down as people slumbered. I have no idea what time we finished, but I had to hitch a lift home, I can tell you that. And so that's my theatre story for the week. In the grand scheme of things, it may be a rambling, and it's not very interesting, is it? Don't think I told that story. Did I tell that story in my book? I don't know. I haven't read it for ages. So somebody tell me. Now, I think at that point, as my feet are getting damp, I'm going to belt up. So I shall just leave you in the traditional manner and say, Saluté.